and we'll go ahead and dive into it. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another client success interview. What we have today is Bianca Perella out from Cape Cod, and we have recently just finished a pretty intensive 12 weeks going through the takeover program. Now, Bianca is a really special client because she joined our program, I believe, in the tail end of the summer in 2020. And it was one of those situations to where I believed in Bianca so much. And she was so hesitant to get started that I was like, literally, just join the program. You don't even have to pay us until you start making money. And she joined the program, started her business, has quit her job. She's now scaled her coaching business. But really what I want to talk about is just sharing her experience going through the takeover program, what it's been like starting from zero, working at a gym, to now having a team and being able to scale past 10K months. So Bianca, welcome. I'm super excited to have you on. Why don't you tell people a little bit more about, how you got started with fitness coaching? What was your first taste of fitness coaching? Because I know when you came to me, you were working at a gym, correct? So what was that like?
Yeah, so I actually started, I was working at the gym for 5 years, and I was overwhelmed with the lack of room for clients and always having cancellations and not having free time, literally working myself into the ground. So I started trying to get people on board myself online, and it was going nowhere. In fact, it was really ghetto. So when you reach out to me, I kind of was like, I've been thinking about it for a while, and you messaged me a few times, and I was like, all right, this guy, he's being really consistent with this. And, I was like, why not give it a try? From not having any knowledge of what to do on my own to working with you, it was such an improvement. And it was a lot easier for me to have the guidance than to try and do it on my own for a year and a half and go nowhere with it.
So question for you. You were at your gym for about 5 years. What was the breaking point for you when you realized, like, I got to change something? Like, why not go another 5 years?
I was capped. I was capped in a sense of like not being able to take on more clients. And I felt like, I had great clients. Don't get me wrong. I love the people that I worked with, but I had no room for growth. And I felt like no matter what I did, no matter what certification I got, nothing was changing. And that's why I wanted to go online.
Awesome. That is a really, really interesting perspective. Is like, you pretty much made your way to the top of your gym, which is like what most people want when they become personal trainers, but yet you still weren't satisfied. So what were you hoping that online was going to provide for you? And what has it provided for you now that you've made the switch?
Freedom was one of the biggest things for me. So I definitely loved the fact that I could take on way more clients, which I have now also with the team built out. But the main thing was just freedom, being able to work from home, being able to be in control of my finances and my time, and be able to put my take on things instead of having someone else's business tell me how to do things.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. When you were working as a personal trainer, what were you capped at? Like, what were the most amount of clients that you were able to take on?
I was at about 20 clients in person.
Okay. That's pretty solid.
Yep.
That's pretty solid.
Couple hours for each person a week. So
yeah. So tell me about the success of your online business. What's happened since joining before takeover, even just with PTBI in general? What happened in those first few months for you?
Well, the first few months, I watched the course just as you suggested. I went through everything, went to the calls, was consistent with it. And I ended up starting to build out what an online coaching was. So I ended up building out like a coaching platform. So with Trainer Eyes. And then I started to really focus on how to actually coach someone, which I didn't know how to do before working with you. I guessed like how to coach someone. So after that, I started getting more clients, and I got about to 15, and I felt pretty comfortable with where I was at. By December, I got a little bit busier, but I couldn't take on any more people. And I felt like I needed to still keep improving what I was offering. So then at that point, I stopped looking for clients, stopped reaching out to people. And I was just focusing on the people that I was coaching. Instead of trying to scale, I was focusing on what I had already built up. And then I started to feel capped again. So that's why we went into the takeover course.
Beautiful. I love that. And I think that's really awesome that you were able to evaluate your business and be like, okay, cool. I don't always have to keep pushing for growth. I can also grow in these other areas, which is simply just making myself a better coach, also making my business a better business, focusing my clients, getting better client testimonial results. So I think that's really cool that you're able to differentiate the two different areas of growth. But tell me a little bit about what it felt like to be capped again online, because that's pretty much what the takeover program is for, is to help you scale out and build better systems. So where were you before you joined takeover, and what has your experience been like now that you have gone through the other side?
So in December, at that point, when I felt like I was like comfortable with the amount of clients, I probably couldn't take on too many more without feeling like overwhelmed. I stopped looking, and then I stopped getting more clients after what I had offered was the 3 months program. So after the 3 months, not everyone resigned. And at that point I was panicking because I was like, I took all this time to stop looking for new clients and building and building. And it honestly made me feel so capped because I was like, well, if I get to that point again, I want to be able to keep going. I don't want to have to stop and hesitate and wait on my growth because I feel like I'm doing this alone. So
yeah, no, that's so powerful. I don't think people realize that, like, when you start a business, and by the way, at this point, you're making 5 to 10K per month, correct?
mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Congratulations. That's incredible. If you were to stop right there, most people would be very jealous of you, right? But what people don't realize, and this is why we created the takeover program, is that once you get to that certain point to where you start getting capped on your time, you're doing everything on your own. It's too hard to manage what you have going on and also continuously grow. The problem that you faced and that many, many coaches face when it comes to scaling is that if you do not continuously grow, you will start to shrink. And when you start to shrink is when you start to panic. And you kind of just get caught on this loop of growing, hitting your cap, shrinking, panicking, growing, hitting your cap, shrinking, panicking. And that is a freaking nightmare. Even though you're making, good money, it's still just so unsettling. And so walk us through the process of how we scaled your business. What did you learn through takeover? What steps did we implement? And, how was the program, able to help you through that process?
So we would oh, sorry, I just stuttered really bad.
No,
we went on calls every single week. So that was honestly the most helpful thing, was having you like week to week be like, okay, this is our task. And you're just going to go through, make sure you do this every single week. And that's what really helped. So with that, we worked on, hiring out. So I hired my VA, I hired my assistant coach. And then I was able to really implement a lot of the tools that you taught me to not only be a boss, but be a leader. And I think that really helped me in understanding how to grow the business with them, not just by myself, because I could, also learn as I go. And they understand that it is a learning process, and we are in this together to make this whole business grow to help other women. So it was really helpful.
Awesome. And what do you think? Like, how do you think the dynamic of scaling and hiring employees change the way you view your own business?
It definitely made me take a step outside of the box. From someone who is like in it all the time, head down, trying to like, constantly help my girls and look for more clients and, work on the business. It made me really take a step outside and be like, okay, what does my business need?
Mm-hmm.
What is really like, what's struggling right now? And where should I put my focus? And where is my time going? Which I never paid attention to before. So it definitely really helped me with like, putting my focus on the things that needed the time versus just kind of, going through the motions like I was before with what I thought was running a business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's like once you start hiring employees and you start scaling the business, your perception of being a business owner versus being self-employed starts to shift, because being a business owner is very selfless. And I think that being self-employed is very selfish, because it's all just based off what you're feeling, what you need, and kind of just catering towards, going through the motions. Whereas being a business owner, you have to put your own needs aside and show up for the business. But at the same time, you're able to grow to levels that you'd never thought possible. So What does your business look like now? We've successfully hired a virtual assistant. We've successfully hired an assistant coach. What is it like on the other side?
It's definitely a lot easier run. I have so much more time now too, which is great. So I feel like I have a lot more freedom to work on, other tasks that the business needs. And it's great. It's easy running. It's, the onboarding system's all automated now. So it's just like click of a button, you get people in, smooth rolling. You don't feel like you're under pressure anymore. It's just kind of like you're just going through the motions and enjoying the business, which is nice.
Here's a question. This is kind of a weird question. Do you ever feel guilty by how easy it might seem? Like now that now that you have all this free time and your business is running smooth, you got calls being generated, you got assistant, like your clients are good, and you have all this free time. Do you ever feel guilty and be like, I'm not working hard enough?
Oh, all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. And I'm like, wow, from going from someone who was slaving before, really putting in the work, trying to get it going, and doing a good job at it to, now taking a step back a little bit and letting my VA do all the messaging and letting my assistant coach, like coach the girls. And, it's definitely different. It's definitely different, but I can show up in different ways for the business that
Mhm.
make me feel like I'm still in the action.
Okay, that's an interesting take. I would love to dive into that because that's the first time I've heard of that. I think a lot of people are very scared to scale because they're like, what if I'm not like what's going to happen when I'm not involved? Like I'm not going to be as close with my clients, or I'm not going to be like in control, right? So in this process, you have to learn how to let go of control. But how have you found ways for you to be able to show up for your clients in your business that's differed from before?
So now I offer group calls. I think that definitely helped. Before I was, doing a lot of the check-ins and whatnot. I still have my own clients. I am not someone who, just passed everyone along to my assistant coach. And I also like to make my clients feel like, even if they're working with my assistant coach, they can still reach out to me, and they
Mhm.
do. And I think that's a good way of approaching it, because then they still have some contact with you. If they need you, you're there. If they want more information or want to see your face, like, and be, connected, they can hop on the calls, and learn something from it. So I think that's a great way that I've approached it, that I, have really stayed in contact with everyone.
I love it. I love it. We'll begin to wrap things up. I have a couple more questions for you. Were you scared of scaling before you got started? Were you, was there any kind of doubts, or you're like, how the heck is like, what were your emotions like when it came to scaling?
I was so scared the first time and the second time. When I first signed up, I was like, oh God, like, who is this guy? Like, I hope this isn't a scam. But you helped me get to that first point. The second time around, I was like, all right, well, I already know who he is.
Mhm.
Like, it's like Zach. You would check in with me regardless of us even working together after those first official 3 months. And that made me feel so much more comfortable to like go to you for questions. And um, it was scary though. It was scary, even though I had like full trust
Mhm.
in you. It was definitely scary because of the thought of failure,
Mhm.
the thought of not being able to grow more, and almost feeling like, there's a lot of other big fish out there. Like, how can I stand out? How can I be different? So it definitely took a little leap of faith, but I'm happy I did it.
I will say, even to this day, at the level that I'm at, every time I make a new hire, I still get a little bit nervous every single
Do
time.
you?
Yeah, every single time, just because like you never know how it's gonna go, and but it always pays off. So, what advice would you give for a coach who's making 5 to 10K per month? They're doing all of their own DM outreach. They are, doing all their own coaching. They're creating all their own content, and they're content with where they're at. They know they need to scale, but they also feel like maybe they can do it on their own, right? What advice would you give?
I would not change a thing. I wish I had done it sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had done it in December, when I got to that point where I was, starting to come down from that, the amount of clients that I had. I wish I jumped right into it, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I hadn't. and I wouldn't have a great bomb ass team who's helping me like push forward and really help the girls. And I have help.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's hard to ask for help, but if I'm telling you, it was worth every penny and it was worth every second of my time.
Do you think you have more fun with your business now that you have a team of girls, like not just your clients, but also like your quote unquote employees?
Yeah, I mean, I do calls every week with my VA and my assistant coach. So, I mean, we're always in contact and we're always coming up with ideas on how to make it better. It's nice not just being me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to talk to my friends all the time about it and they're like, I don't really care. Like we're not in this, and it gets lonely.
Yeah.
And when you have people that are doing it with you, it's like they want the business to grow as much as you do. And it's a really good feeling.
I absolutely agree. My team, like I talk my team's ear off all day. I'm like, this is what we're gonna do. Then we're gonna do this, and then here's the vision, here's the plan. They're like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I'm like, I would never be able to like emotionally dump that on my friends because they don't care. But having a team in place is like they want to see you win. It's like it's motivating too because now you're showing up for them. You're like, I got a team to lead. I got a vision to create. So I think it's really awesome. Bianca, thank you so much for sharing your experience going through the takeover program. Is there any final words of advice or anything that you want to leave anyone who's listening to this for?
Do it. Do it, do it, do it.
Good.
That's all I have to say.
I love it. I love it. All right, we'll end it here.